A young girl who's the leader of the largest criminal organization. Same girl does everything that a book tells her, creates a huge beast that almost destroys England. We find a girl who's missing from the Wonderland named Alicia, and Siesta almost dies. A lot of things happen in episode number 6, but the thing that happened the most, guys, that I'm excited about is that we are in the adventures, the mystery adventures that Kimi and Siesta are having. My main gripe with the anime early on was the fact that they killed off Siesta and we immediately moved into this very tropey thing of she was special, so special that now she died and she gave her body parts as in like a donor state to another girl, and she has her heart and that heart's leading her, and she's gonna take over and she's gonna be a detective even though she knows no idea how to be a detective, but the heart's leading her in the right direction. It was just such an awful premise, and I'm happy that even though they introduced that, and even though we know later on in the anime that that's still going to be a thing, I am extremely happy that the direction that they are taking right now, which is exactly what I wanted to see from the anime. And I repeat this each and every week. What I wanted to see from the anime was, especially after that banger of an episode 1, was them to basically show us the different adventures or mystery solving that Kimi and Siesta went on each and every week. You know, all these kind of different adventures that they went on, all the different crazy mysteries that they solved, the organizations that they took on, being legendary detectives during their 3 years, and built up to the point to where she does die, and let it be after that Kimi find out who killed her, how, and basically find out, basically get not revenge, but get retribution, get peace of mind, get closure on solving the case on who killed Siesta. You know what I mean? Well, this week we've gotten more of that, especially with last week, which I really love last week's episode with the Heart Stealer, with the Wolverine guy, and all of that. And they introduced the girl Hell, who she is the leader of this large organization. And what's crazy about her is she does have an ability, much like our ear boy. She has an ability that is function through her eyes, and that makes it really interesting. But the big thing is she's leading, or she's doing what she's doing based on what's written in a book that I want to say was passed down by her father. But regardless, she's doing things because there is like a future to be told inside of a book, much like ReZero, right? Like they have like this biblical thing that they follow that kind of tells what their past, present, and future will be. And she's doing all the things that she's doing based on what's in the book. And I think that premise is really interesting. Well, in this week's episode, we kind of pick up where we left off last week with Kimi about to be attacked by the Pedokis, which is that huge, Godzilla-looking monster. And Siesta comes in to save the day inside of a big old mech, a humanoid mech thing. And she's able to kind of like, not put a stop, but she's able to, go one-on-one with Hell and with the Beast. And ultimately, after some kerfuffles back and forth, she ends up having to boot Kimi out of the machine, and she ends up going to attack the Beast. She goes in and attacks Hell, and she takes down the Beast. She gets pretty injured by it. Kimi and her share a moment because, Kimi's freaking out. He's like, he doesn't want her to die in any way, shape, or form, right? So he's freaking out. He can't believe that she abandoned him in a sense because that's how he feels like what she did. And they share a moment because obviously they really care for each other, right? And I think that was very special. Like they share a legit moment, but it was interrupted by Hell because she didn't completely die. She wants to use her ability to kill Siesta, but Siesta turns the tables on her because apparently her ability is activated by who she's looking at, and she uses her reflection through a mirror, and she stabs herself, and she poofs and disappears because she calls on a partner called Chameleon. And I know we're going to meet them later, and I have an idea that I'll share with you guys in a moment, but, they call on her later, etc., right? Then as we move forward, we see her and Kimi inside of a hotel room because they have to spend a couple of weeks now as she basically heals up because she broke her leg and some other things. She sustained a lot of injuries, so they're going to have to take some time off from being during the detective work. And as Kimi went to go get apples, he meets this girl who's a girl in a box. But he meets her because he gets basically, he gets shoulder checked, and she's just in an alley somewhere, this girl. And her name is Alicia, so she looks like Alice in Wonderland. and he meets her and she has amnesia and all these other things. So he brings her back to Siesta. There's some funny moments that are shared within the episode as well. But there's he brings her back to Siesta, and she shares with him that, hey, met this girl, etc. So Siesta, decides like, hey, you're gonna do my detective work, and we will help you figure out who you are, where you came from, and all this other stuff. And I like how they're throwing in another character in there who he could potentially rendezvous with, much like the blonde girl that we met before, in the future to try and solve all this stuff. So I like how they're introducing characters early that Siesta has a relationship interaction with that she can set up for Kimi in the future, right? I do like that point of it. The other thing that I think, too, is there is that chameleon person who is working with Hell, and I have a feeling that maybe this Alicia girl could be that. That could be, like, the evil side of it. Good side is, this could just be, like, a story plot thing to where she's built in as an additional character. And they could really find out something about her, and she could be a really good resource, for the future, for future Kimi. So there's a couple of ways they can go. But before the episode ends, the detective, the red-haired detective lady comes in, and she advises them that Hell's still on the loose, that hearts are still being stolen. She's obviously trying to create 𝐵𝐻𝐻𝐺 number 2. So they need to definitely put a stop and solve that as well. So a lot of really good things happen this episode, but overall, like, I'm really enjoying it because I just like how they took it back to telling us the story and adventures that Kimi and that Siesta are having, and I think that's where this anime shines the most. And I really wish that they would have done that just kind of from the beginning and built up to what they were trying to build up to, as opposed to, basically say she's dead, he's back here, and then kind of like the way they kind of did the storytelling is just not. It could be better, but regardless, I think that they're making their headway back. I just hope that they didn't lose so many people by the very cheesiness and very predictability of it. I hope that people are still sticking around to see this be what it is, which is really good. Overall, though, I really enjoyed episode number 6, guys. I'm actually legitimately excited for episode number 7. I can't wait to jump in next week and see what other kind of adventures Kimi and Siesta get into, and who is this Alicia girl and what will she lead to. But regardless, guys, thank you guys for joining me for another episode. We'll see you guys next week for episode number 7. If you missed our full reaction, go check it out right here. And make sure you guys subscribe and like before you leave. And we'll see you guys next week for episode 7 of The Detective Is Already Dead. Peace out, guys.